Hello there, it's Michael here with another guitar lesson from Northern Ireland. This is Fun Rock Licks. So these are kind of classic rock licks, tried and tested, and basically I'm going to show you them here, give you some ideas, and you steal them, and then you make them yours. So for you to get some proper value from this video, you would need to at least know a minor pentatonic scale, and have some basic hammer on and pull off scales, be able to do bends and vibrato. And you don't have to be really advanced, just basic scales I'm talking about. So you have to know this scale, okay? Okay, here's our first fun rock lick. So in the middle of the A minor pentatonic scale, you're going to pick 5 and 7 on the D string, and you're alternate picking those. Then we go and do what we can call a blues curl, a little 1/4 note bend that doesn't have to be especially accurate, it's more the kind of attitude you're doing it with. You 1/4 note bend fret 5 of the G string, and just pull it down to the floor a little bit of a jerk of the hand, and then you can let the note come back to the original pitch. Just like that. And it sounds extra cool if you just leave a bit of a delay. Don't do the bend straight away. Then you've got to come back to your finale note, fret 7 of the D string, with an up and a down, so you're alternate picking there as well. Now you're going to notice lots of vibrato in these licks. It's really essential. Now good vibrato, really separates someone. You could not play a lot of things but have great vibrato, and I think you're a great guitar player, as would many people. Okay, so I'll give you my opinion and some advice on vibrato. So that last note there, fret 7 of the D string, I'm going to suggest use your 3rd finger and get 1st and 2nd finger behind it to assist whilst you're manipulating the string, okay? So really 3 fingers are doing the work there. It's okay to do it with 1 finger, but I really think you get so much better control if you get other fingers to help you, okay? Thumb position as well. Whilst I would usually say get your thumb down for most kind of scale stuff and most things on guitar, to be fair, you can poke it up there in this case for a bit of purchase. It gives you a bit of a better grip on the neck. So in this case we're doing the vibrato with the 3rd finger, but what I would suggest is in general you make this kind of C shape, and if the 1st finger was doing vibrato you would make this kind of a motion. If the 2nd finger was doing it, you would do that. Now, we're going to use 3 fingers here, so we're kind of moving like that. So play the note, let it ring a sec. And then you start to do that turning motion. Really coming from your wrist, isn't it? So it's not the finger doing the work here, really. You can do it that way, but that's quite stressful. Get that turning motion going, and you can kind of use this part of the guitar. Lick 2 is just a bit of a variation. It's got a bit more attitude now. So instead of just that 1/4 note bend on 1 string, fret 5 of the G, you're also including fret 5 of the B, and you get this really cool gnarly sound. So just treat it similar to the original 1/4 note bend, but you're going to try and do it on 2 strings. And pull it down to the floor, and then if you can let it return to pitch. So you're putting a bit of tension and strength into it, and then let all that tension out and let it return to original pitch. Now you'll see the picking directions in the tab. They're just suggestions, okay? Depending on the level of knowledge you have, you don't have to overly analyze that. But I'm going to explain as we go why I might suggest to do up picks, especially in certain places, to make some of the string changes more fast, okay? Lick 3, you're bound to have heard something like this before. Okay, now I'm going to suggest you're doing a full step bend here on fret 7 of the G string. I just personally like to start this with an up pick because you're going to constantly come back to that note, okay? But you know, that's optional, it's up to you. I just find I can get a lot more speed that way. So start with an up pick and a full step bend, so you're bending this note to sound like this note. Then you go to 5 on the B string and you're going to do an alternate pick twice on that note. So fret 5 of the B string. And you can sit and do that all day really, and that will really build the strength up because you're going from a bend where you might want those other fingers to assist you, same as kind of the vibrato I was talking about, to a single note. So it builds a bit of strength, this. So you essentially do that little phrase 4 times. And then the finale. Lick 4 is a variation, we're just going to change one note. So only thing is different now is instead of picking 5 and 5 on the B string, you want to go 5, 8. Now you might be tempted to use the 3rd finger, and that's a perfectly legitimate way to do it if you want to. But then you might have to change the finger you do the bend from originally. You know, loads of people would do that, loads of famous guys like Gary Moore and stuff. But I'm going to suggest you use your pinky there. It'll get the pinky strong as well. And those last 2 licks were really kind of Chuck Berry and ACDC-ish. And I'll just say as well, I've suggested do these as full step bends, but you could bend this note we keep coming back just a half step bend to get the blue note. Lick 5 is a variation then again, and this is like a real classic rock lick that you're bound to have heard. Okay, now there's a few approaches you can do here. We can, and I would encourage you to, learn how to roll your fingers, okay? So we've got that same bend to start, but then you're playing 5 on the B and high E. So same fret but adjacent strings. So it's very tempting to do this sort of thing and let them ring into one another, and that's a very cool sound in itself, but you want to choose what you do here. So if you want those notes to ring in, then you just make a little mini bar like that. If that's what you want to hear, that's fine. But if you want the notes separated, then what you need to learn to do is, as you're playing 5 on the B string, your knuckle is nice and upright as if you would play any other note. But when you go to play 5 on the high E, you want the knuckle to collapse and roll over. And you can also gently just nudge that string you just played, the B string, to mute it out. That's if you don't want this. Okay, so you've got to choose if you want that string bleed or not. Now in a lot of these licks there's a string skip involved from the high E back to the G string, and that's why often you will see I'm suggesting to do this big bend on the G string with an up pick. Okay, so just in my experience of learning and teaching people, this will get you a lot more speed. So a down pick in the high E, and you're going to get that G string with an up pick. But it is just a suggestion, okay? Really fun, that. Really fun. Okay, now you can see that it's got the kind of little roll lick that we were doing last time, although I was deliberately letting the strings ring into one another just because I think that sounds cool. So you've got this thing again. Okay, so that should be fine so far. Now what I've done here, I haven't said to pick this fret 8 on the B string, okay, but you can pick it. What I'm actually kind of doing is a hammer on and pull off from nowhere, really, that gives it this much more liquidy legato sound. So you can pick that fret 8 of the B string, or you can leave it, okay. What I would suggest is you might find the pinky misbehaves and hits the high 8 times, so look directly at fret 8 on the B string to make sure the pinky's hitting its target. And then the rest of the lick is the same kind of ending as before, but you'll notice in the stems of the rhythm that this is what's called 16th notes, okay? So we're going really kind of fast. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. So it's a real fast rock lick. More variations on a theme next with lick 7, okay? So let me play it and then I'll explain it. So that's kind of an easier one to keep clean and get rid of the messy string bleed if you don't want that, okay? So again, it's your choice. Now all you're doing this time is the fret 8 will now be in the high E string, and again you can choose to pick it, or you can just do like a hammer on and pull off from nowhere. Now lick 8 is a mix of lick 6 and lick 7, okay? We're just going to alternate on the string. We're doing that hammer on pull off from nowhere kind of thing, or picking it, whatever you want to do there. Very fun lick here. This is something I use all the time, and I can't exactly remember where I heard it, but all kinds of guys, especially Gary Moore and Rory Gallagher, use this kind of thing. So you've got this same kind of bend and roll, then 8 to fret 5 in the high E. I've suggested do that as a pull off without picking, and then like a double one, a trill on the B string before you come back to 7 on the G and 5 on the G. And if I pick it, still sounds really cool, and it's a different kind of practice you can get there. Here's another one I've definitely stole from the likes of Gary Moore and Rory Gallagher. I love this one as well. And I'll insert something here about, you might notice I sometimes kind of hit the strings hard and it sounds like I'm hitting other strings, and that is what's happening. Could call this a rake, okay? So this is our kind of target money note here to start the lick, fret 8 of the B string, and you're actually playing a G and bending it up to an A. So in the key of like A blues or A minor, this is kind of the money note thing to do. But what sounds extra cool is if you try and rake or glide, or kind of a sweep picking thing, from lower strings across the strings like this, but you only want that one note to ring out. So there's a few things you can do. You can use what fingers are over here not getting used to mute the strings, but you also kind of need the back of your hand to do your regular muting that you should be doing over here anyway. And it gives it a bit of extra attitude there. Now we are picking notes here, so full step bend there, then fret 5 of the high E, then you come back to 8 on the B and 5 on the B. I kind of chicken out of using the pinky on that bend at first, but you could do this. I use the third finger, first finger, then pinky. And we keep coming back to these same kind of ending licks. That's to really kind of show you how you can milk the same ideas. Now lick 11 I've stole from Slash. It's in Sweet Child of Mine, but we're doing it in a different key here. So you do this kind of bluesy blues curl on fret 5 of the G string. Then 7, 5, 7 on the D string. 5, 7 on that same string. And then you go to 5, 7 on the G string with a little hammer-on pull-off. What's cool to do in your licks as well, that isn't in the tab but it doesn't matter, is you can palm mute in your licks as well. It's not just a rhythm guitar thing. So especially when you've got something on the thicker strings. So that 5, 7 before the little hammer-on pull-off, you know, that sounds quite cool to palm mute. Okay, so lick 12 onwards, these are really kind of cool speed licks, I call them, that you can work on and loop over and over again. And you know, you've just got to practice these for a long time to get some really ripping speed, but it really is possible with this kind of lick. And the picking motions are quite important here, so I'm going to go into detail about why I'm suggesting that, okay? Here's the first speed lick, lick 12. Okay, so we could just do that all day, couldn't we? We're just at the top of the A minor pentatonic scale. Pick 5, hammer to 8, pull off, and then we've got to go to one note on the B string, fret 8, and you're going to take care of that for now with your little finger. So there's only 2 picked notes there, the initial down to start the lick, and the up when you change strings. So, you know, I'd consider this kind of a sweep picking, economy picking kind of thing. So after your initial pick, hammer and pull, as you go to do this up pick, you want the pick to always be within the middle of the first string and the second string. It does not have to go anywhere and pull away from the guitar. So it's kind of always hovering in and around there. And one of the things that really helped me over the years with loads of stuff, even changing chords fast, is you've got to keep the picking or strumming arm moving even when it's not hitting the strings. Okay, and this is very important here. It looks like my picking hand's always moving, because it is, because it just said that. And what that means is it gets rid of any hesitation where I have to think, right, I've got to get the pick moving again. It's always doing this tiny little sweep movement, okay? It's always on the move, and that allows you to get a bit more rip and speed when you always keep it on the move like that. And also as well, as you're holding that fret 5, I would suggest that that first finger should just be slightly releasing off when it's not getting used, okay? So when you come to this G note on fret 8 of the B string, that first finger, ideally, I would say to release it. And it's not having to do this or anything, I'm just talking about it pops up. The pressure is released. Now, if you want, like many famous rock guys before me, is you can get rid of the pinky and use the third finger there. And I would suggest doing this as well, okay? Because in higher parts of the fretboard you can take the same lick and it might be a bit unwieldy to use the pinky, okay? So you can use the third finger. And I would say practice it both ways. Lick 13 is the same kind of idea, just moved down the scale, so I'm not going to explain all that stuff again. This is just how it goes. Okay, to a few more speed licks. I'm not going to talk through every little bit of this one here, but you're going to notice I'm not picking the notes so much, it's more of a legato thing again. And if you want to make the last part of that an octave chord, that's a very kind of Hendrixy sounding thing. Where you let those last two notes, which are the same note in different octaves, let them ring into one another. Or separate them, up to you. So the last lick uses a little bit of the idea we just did in lick 14, plus some of the earlier licks, the speed licks. And here it is slowly.